hello, you don't hear from me for a week, and then I pop up and you hear from me 2 or 3 times. So this is my tea leaves, my first tea leaf session where I'm going to nominate some books for you to read that I think will be really, really good, that have been great for me, and I've recommended them to loads of people. And I've got loads of books. I read books all the time. It's kind of a bit annoying for some people because I've got them everywhere, and I think my daughter Lily has banned me from Waterstones now, although Amazon deliver, which is great. I tend to get them delivered sort of 3 or 4 books at any one go, and now I found a really great thing, although it's not new, but new for me, is that you can get books on audio. So now, when I'm stuck in a traffic jam or something like that, I just shove on a book in the car, and I can listen to books in the car while I'm driving along, which is great. And in fact, I quite kind of like the fact that I get stuck in traffic now, because it gives me a good excuse to listen to one of my books. Yeah, so I don't get stressed about it. It's very, very good. So my first book that I sort of recommend to you, which is a really great book, and I've probably read it now 2 or 3 times. I still want to get some of the stuff down. Yeah, I think books like this you have to read over and over again and start applying the principles really to make them really effective. So, The Chimp Paradox by Professor Steve Peters, if you can get this. The Mind Management Program for Confidence, Success and Happiness. You can see mine's a little bit beaten up. I like books. I like the sensory nature of books. You might like a Kindle, you might want to put it on another sort of device, or you might like an audio book. For me, I love the sensory nature of a book. Obviously, if I go away on holiday and stuff, that's probably a bit difficult, but I still take books, or I buy a book that jumps out at me at the airport, at the bookshop. So this is the first book I'm going to recommend. Yeah, The Chimp Paradox. Very, very good. Has worked with, this guy particularly has worked with athletes, top Olympians, those sorts of people, but also very much in terms of the differences between the way that we react to things and the way we process things in our brain. And he very much goes around looking at 3 particular areas of the brain, and that's the human brain, the chimp brain, and the computer. And they're the kind of 3 areas of the brain he talks about quite significantly in this book, about how they operate together and how the chimp side of the brain can hijack your thinking and can at times be quite difficult to deal with, and how we can actually manage that chimp within our minds. And it's a bit, I suppose, like the monkey mind that we talk about in Buddhist principles and those kinds of things, but actually that you need each of these 3 elements of the mind and why, and when they have their part to play and those kinds of things. So a fascinating book. I would recommend you getting it and reading it and applying the principles in here. Very good section on goal setting as well, on sort of setting yourself some foundation stones in terms of where you want to be and what you're aiming to go for. And not your typical kind of business book by any degree, much more around the kind of whole mindset thing. So that's my first book. If you can get hold of it, Professor Steve Peters, The Chimp Paradox. And I'll be tuning in with another one for you. I've got tons of them and I read all the time. Feed your mind all the time. Really, really good. Have a great week. Enjoy the book. Cheers. Bye.